For number 13, the directions just say simplify. And this is almost always one of the most missed questions on the trig proofs test. But I think really it should be one of the easiest questions, but I think a lot of people just don't quite understand how to start these. So we're going to do 13A and then 13C, because I think we've already done a couple with signs, so we'll mix it up and we'll start with this first one. So it just says simplify, and it says tan of x minus 2 pi. When you look at that, you should just think one thing. You have tangent of x minus an angle. Anytime you have anything added or subtracted inside the parentheses after any of your trig functions, you should automatically think that you're going to use the sum and difference formulas, just based on whichever one you have. So in this case, since we're doing tan of x minus 2 pi, we're going to use the tangent sum and difference formula. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy down the original one, which is alpha plus minus beta is equal to tangent alpha plus minus tangent beta, all divided by 1 minus plus tangent alpha times tangent beta. So this gives us another opportunity to talk about those plus minus signs. So if you look on the left, it's oriented as plus minus. So the plus is on top and the minus is on the bottom. The first plus minus we see on the right side is oriented the same way. So if we use a plus sign on the left side, we're going to use a plus sign in the numerator on the right. And then the denominator, that one's the one that's a little bit different. So that one, since it's flipped upside down, when you go to do the one on the denominator, you're going to do the opposite sign. So for the one that we are doing, we're doing tangent of x minus 2 pi. Alright, so what that means is that everywhere there's an alpha, we're going to replace it with an x, and everywhere there's a beta, we're going to replace it with a 2 pi, and then since we're using a minus here in the middle, there it is, we're going to use a minus here on the left, a minus up top on the right, and on the bottom we're going to use the plus. So if we go ahead and fill that in, you're going to have tan x minus tan of 2 pi divided by 1 plus tan x times tan of 2 pi. Alright, so all we've done is recognize that we have a sum and difference formula, and then we went ahead and used that sum and difference formula to plug in values for alpha and beta. So now when you look at it, we're really just going to work on the right side. We can't do anything with tan x because we don't know what it is, but tangent of 2 pi is equivalent to something. Now you can either use your knowledge of the unit circle, or if you're not too sure because it has been quite a while since we've done it, you can just type that into your calculator, tangent of 2 pi. Tangent of 2 pi, if you use your calculator, again make sure you're in radian mode because 2 pi is a radian measure. Tangent of 2 pi is 0. So really up top we have tan x minus 0, and on the bottom we have 1 plus tangent x times 0. So if we're going to times that tangent x on the bottom by 0, really 0 times anything is just 0, so this whole expression here goes away. So what we're left with is we have just a tangent x in the numerator minus 0, which we don't really need to write the minus 0, and then denominator, all we're left with is 1. So really, if we simplify tangent x minus 2 pi, which we were asked to do at the beginning, tangent of x minus 2 pi simplifies to just plain old tangent of x. If we do the same thing with the cosine, we're starting off with cosine of x plus 5. Okay, so we're starting with cosine of x plus 5 pi over 2. So this is number 13C. And you should recognize it as a sum or difference, so I'm going to go ahead and write down cosine alpha plus minus beta. Now you don't need to write the general form out every time, but if you're anything like me and you're a very visual person, I need to see it written every time, even if it's right in front of my face on my formula sheet. And I just think it helps you organize things a little bit better. Now, with the cosine of alpha plus minus beta, on the right side, it's a minus plus, so it's opposite of how it's oriented on the left side. So we'll keep that in mind. Oops, we'll say that's a sine alpha sine beta. Okay? So just like we did with tangent, x is going to replace alpha, beta, or 5 pi over 2 is going to replace beta, and we're going to keep the plus sign, which means we're going to use the minus sign on the right. So we have cosine of x plus 5 pi over 2 is equal to cosine x, because x is replacing alpha, times the cosine of 5 pi over 2 minus sine of x times sine of 5 pi over 2. And just like we did with tangent, when you look at it, cosine x we can't do anything with, so it's going to stay cosine x. But cosine of 5 pi over 2 we can work with. Now you might not recognize 5 pi over 2 as something on the unit circle, but really 5 pi over 2 is in the same position as just 1 pi over 2, so they're going to have the same trig values. So cosine of 5 pi over 2 is the same thing as cosine of pi over 2. And cosine, the cosine value when you're up at pi over 2 is 0. Again, that's something your calculator could tell you if you're in doubt. Just gotta make sure you're in radians. On the right side we have sine of x times, now sine of 5 pi over 2, up at that pi over 2 spot, sine is a positive 1. So what we're left with, cosine x times 0, really just have 0, and then sine x times 1 is sine x. Oops. So cosine of x plus 5 pi over 2 simplifies to negative sine of x. And you're done.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.